Okay. So yeah, the question was about cursive. I forgot to start the recording right away, but that's it. And so obviously the French schools often demand cursive, so we are going to have to target it. But if I'm evaluating a child who's, grade 3, grade 4, grade 5, and their printing is really bad, right? It's really, really bad. And the letter formation is all over the place. They have very difficult spacing, right? So a lot of their letters will be either too close together, or they'll have a really hard time spacing between words. So it looks like it's all one word. It's not clear where the word break is. Then I'm going to consider cursive, because in order to retrain the brain in a pattern that you already know, right? So people already know how to make the letter A. It's so hard to convince them to do it a different way. And it would be for you too, right? If you tried to learn to write your letters a different way after practicing and practicing and practicing the same way, you'd have to restart. And most kids are resistant to that. So instead, if I teach them something new, right? So I'm not trying to erase a motor pattern and recreate a new one. We're starting from scratch with the cursive. So they will often be more into that idea, right? And it'll be easier.
And if, let's say, he started to write yet, and the school tells you, whatever it is, whether it's cursive or not, you will go with non-cursive or not necessarily?
I would usually start with printing. I always start with uppercase.
Okay.
Always, always, always. Again, usually you're starting with uppercase between like 4 and 5, right? And now, like when I started school, right, I went to half-day kindergartens and we were learning our letters in kindergarten, right, to write. Now you are expected to go into kindergarten knowing most of your letters, like to write most of your letters. It's very much a preschool skill, right? And a lot of CPEs offer preschool in the sense of in the afternoon when all the other kids are napping, they're doing preschool classes, right? So they're working on these skills. A lot of it is hoping that they teach the VMI skills first, right? So regardless of whether you're going to print or do cursive, if you can't make a triangle, you can't do either of those skills because you cannot make diagonal lines.
Okay, so right? It's really going by the VME evaluation. That's probably okay.
So you do the VME, you see where they are, where they can't, and then after that, you are going to look at uppercase letters, and there is an order. And actually, I'll look it up for you. Hold on. I have it somewhere, I'm sure. So handwriting, tiers, letter, order. And I'll pull it up to show you guys. But basically, when you do it, you can teach letters in a very logical way. Here we go. Okay, now there's 2 different approaches to it. So we're going to talk a little bit more. Oh, I like this, order to teach cursive letters. Cool. See, there's so much that you can find just by looking it up, guys. Like really doesn't take long. But the way that, here it is. Okay, this is what we're going to look at. I'm going to share my screen with you. Let me just pull it up. Well, it brought me to Pinterest, but it'll work. Okay. So I would usually start with uppercase letters because there are 4 strokes that you need to do it, right? And we're going to talk a little bit about the handwriting without tears in the introduction today. So it'll be a bit of a review for you, Ariella, but you'll be able to ask all your questions and I'll introduce everybody to it as well, right? But if you look here, developmental teaching order. Okay, so first you start with your VMI shapes. That's the most important part. And then, and I have, can you see my whole screen or are you still seeing the original one? The first one I put up.
We're seeing the Pinterest.
Yeah. Okay, you're seeing Pinterest. Okay, I wanted to find, there's a baby crying. Awesome. Okay, so hold on, I'm going to stop the share for a second. We're going to go back to that one, but I'll show you guys this one first. Okay, so I had pulled this one up to show you. Sorry, go ahead.
If the child is learning cursive, do you bother with capitals? Do you go back to capitals or do you support him with the cursive?
I would probably be sure to do the capitals only because you still need capitals when you're doing cursive. So a lot of the times now with cursive, they're not teaching cursive capitals, right? Yeah. They will strictly do like a regular printing capital and then the rest of the word in cursive. Oh, hold on. That's a crying baby. Hold on one second. Check out this, guys. Okay, have a look at the copying shapes by age. And I don't know where the father is. Hold on. Changes there. Okay. Ugh. All right, can everybody hear me? Daniel's in the shower. So apparently I'm solo parenting and training. It's awesome. Okay. Hi, Benjamin. Yes, I see you hungry. Look, say hello to everybody. Hi, look how many chins I have. I'm so fat and have to eat all the time. That's all I do. Like legit, all he does is eat. Okay. That's all you do. I know. I'm going. Oh. Hold on. Once we get going, we're good. Okay, now, so you're gonna look at this copying shapes, right? So it shows you by age, which I think is very useful for you. But as opposed to by age, please think of it in this order. This is the order you want them to be learning it, right? So if they can't make a circle, they probably cannot do the other ones, right? Some kids can. So check all of them to the developmentally appropriate one. I wouldn't try, the intersecting lines or the triangle, that kind of stuff, if they're only doing, if they're only 3 years old and only doing lines and circles, right? So this here, it says 5 years, 3 months. I find that difficult only because they're already making letters at this point. Okay, so most kids are able to do this before. A rectangle is harder. That's usually more of a 5-year-old skill. So triangle, I would still put within this range of 4.5 years because they need to master that skill to be able to write the letter A. Right?
How come the triangle is harder? Seems like most kids, when trying to do a square, they end up doing a rectangle.
Oh, well, because they're not intentionally doing a rectangle, though. So the rectangle is longer. It's not equal.
Okay, it requires more like perceptual.
Exactly.
It's more complicated, therefore.
Okay. So this is a handout that's from Tools to Grow. So I will send all of you guys the sign in for Tools to Grow. So we have an account under my email, and it's super easy. It has amazing handouts, guys. Tons and tons of handouts. You could spend several hours going through it, looking, planning. They have tons of visual motor stuff. That's what this is from. And I have a whole bunch to show you guys today. Okay. And the shapes I like, and they have another one that actually measures, like it's one where you copy. It's already set up for you. And you can use it to screen kids. It's not a standardized test by any means, but you can use it as a quick screening to see where a child falls. Okay? And when we look at the letters, let me pull that one back up, right? Will it get bigger? Whoa, no, that doesn't work. So the way they divide it for uppercase letters is through frog jump capitals, starting corner capitals, and center starters. They even have paper. But what's really cool, if you can see, is that they do it in gray blocks. Okay, so a lot of times when people are trying to teach kids how to do a letter, they'll use regular lines and they make dots. Okay, but if you think about it from a visual motor perspective, they are just learning to connect dots. They're not learning to actually make the letter smoothly without the dots. So I can definitely sometimes use visuals, right? But I wouldn't put a bunch of tiny dots. Instead, I would put highlighter. I would put yellow highlighter along the lines of the F, and then I would have them trace inside the yellow highlighter, right? Then or just a yellow marker. It doesn't even have to be highlighter. They're super handy things, these yellow markers. But it'll allow them to trace inside a line versus connecting many little dots or dashes. Does that make sense? Okay, what I like about the gray blocks is that it provides you with a very defined space that will go towards the mat that we're using for our multisensory learning. So what's really cool about Handwriting Without Tears is developed by an OT. It is multisensory, and it starts from pre-writing and builds on each skill. And it builds it very logically, which is what I like. Okay, so but this is just so you can see that there is an order. And then when you teach it in groups. Always teach in logical groups, guys. The handwriting program, the cursive program that I use, Loops and Other Groups, also teaches in groups. So everything starts the same way and then differentiates into a letter. So it's so much simpler than jumping all over the place, right? You learn one stroke and you add to it. It's very logical. All right. But even before we do letters, so Ariella, should I keep going on this or did you have another question? I didn't hear you. Keep going.
Oh no.
Ariella, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good. Do you have another question or should I kind of keep going on my tangent?
No, keep going.
Okay. Oh, the other thing with cursive, just so we're all aware, is it's really good for kids who have spacing issues. All right, I kind of gently touched on that, but spacing happens very naturally with cursive because the letters are joined and there is a break before you start the next word. So if you have spacing issues, it's a very good thing to work on to naturally occur, right? Otherwise, you've got kids putting their finger or there's all these different techniques that we can try, but it's a really nice method to teach spacing. I'm sorry for all the background noise.
Quick question. How
Yes.
come the H is considered second level type from what I can see, when essentially it requires like kind of the simpler line.
And so here they have it, right? Starting corner capitals, but the reason they have it differently is that you don't jump back up to the top. So all of the frog jump capitals here, you make a big line down and you jump back to the top, same starting point for the next line. Starting corner capitals, the H you go down, but then you go all the way across to make the other line, right? And then you make the intersecting center starter. So
do you correct them if they don't do it that way?
Yes, when I'm teaching, yes, because I want to teach them to do it correctly. It's much easier when they're being taught how to do it, to teach it the right way. If they come in already having bad habits, it's trickier, right? And then you pick your battles. You choose which ones are more efficient than others, right? How do we do that? I'll call you when I'm done. Okay. Yes, the bottle's ready. So I'm going to stop this one. We will come back to this, okay? So I'm not going to lose that one. But what I had pulled up first to show you guys was Matman. All right, so Matman is possibly my favorite thing ever. It is the best thing that has been. There we go. Here's Matman. All right, so this is just a picture of it, which somebody made for me so that we could always hand it to a parent so they would know what it looks like. But Matman is basically a very simple foam blue mat. You can pick different colors, but they go with blue, and I usually buy blue as well, right? 2 foam hands. I've made eyes and a nose from foam as well. We have this at both of the clinic, or at all the clinics, we have a set, and it uses the Handwriting Without Tears shape. So the wooden letters, the wooden shapes, you have big curve, little curve, big line, little line. You can make every single uppercase letter with those 4 shapes. Super cool. And that kind of explains why it's so easy to teach uppercase letters first, because you only need 4 strokes. And what's really cool about having the wooden pieces is you can start by making them, right? You don't need to have your hand on a pencil to learn the letters. And what I like about Handwriting Without Tears is how they use music, okay? So Handwriting Without Tears, we have, by the way, all of the music. So I'm trying to think what the easiest way is. I think it'll be easiest if I share it with you over WeTransfer. So I will try to do that. I'll send all the music. And what I do is I keep it on my phone. So it's on my iPhone. I have Handwriting Without Tears, Get Set for School, which is the first one. I have Rock, Rap, Tap, and Learn, which is the second one. And I also have Astronaut Training on my phone, which means I can pull it out anywhere I am and play it. So efficient. If people have speakers, you can play it. I've done it at daycares. Matman I've done with whole classes at a daycare, the full class, and they love it, right? And so I find that this is super efficient. If you can draw a person on paper, you can do all the pre-writing shapes. If you can't, and we need to teach you, I start by doing it with the wooden pieces, using the song. So following the song, I've actually pulled up a YouTube video to show you guys so that we can look at it. And you can see how it goes step by step by step. And when I do it, I'm super animated with the kids, right? So I'm singing along, and if the first thing you do is the face, right? Matman has one face, or one head, sorry. So you do the head. You take the 2 big curves, and I put it up to my head, right? And then I was smiling, I laugh, and then I put it up to their head. So we really engage in the game. And then I lay it down on the mat in front of me, right? And then the next one are the eyes. And so I'll do the same thing. And if it's somebody who you think is going to pick up quick, you can always put one eye and hand them the other eye to have them do it. Or the first time, if I'm teaching it, I do it. And then the next time I present it, I have them place all the pieces until they can get it. And some of our kids start from really low down, right? We got to work our way towards this. It also helps with body precept. If you can't associate a 2D image like that with your body parts, right? You have a very poor body understanding of your own. And that's really important for a lot of our kids. They don't have it. They do not have any understanding of how their body works. Hold on, it's going to get loud for 1 second. And he's going to pull at all my stuff. Hold on, we're just going to switch sides. Yes, I know it's a terrible thing. Patience. So I'm going to cue up the video in a second. Hold on. Buddy. This is why I need wireless stuff. Benjamin has recently learned to use his hands, guys. It's such a cool step when they start. For me, anyway, I'm very fascinated by it. However, his main objective is just pulling out the little hairs from behind my head there. You know when you put a ponytail and you have those little hairs like, oh my God. I have none left. He's laughing at me as I say this. Okay. We're back in business. So I will stop sharing. And again, I can send that to you guys, okay? But we're going to pull up. Whoop. Hold on.
That's why I was asking you if it was only lowercase. Because when I got the woods,
yep,
I didn't know what to do for lowercase with them.
Because you're not there with that. Like once we've gotten uppercase, we have so many skills, right? That we're now ready to go to paper.
Okay.
Right.
So that was okay.
Exactly. These are used so much for uppercase and Matman and all the pre-writing stuff. Lowercase is much harder. Lowercase, we're using more like the roll and dough. They have one, or they have a oh my God, what's the word? The one where you draw with the magnet stick? Magnadoodle. They have a Magnadoodle one. Do you guys know what a Magnadoodle is? Am I that old? You guys know what it is, right?
Never seen that.
Okay, so we have, obviously I have both of them, but
are those the ones where you have to like shake it to make things disappear? Like
no, that's an Etch-a-Sketch.
Etch-a-Sketch.
You guys have to get to know some of the old school toys. This is a
yeah.
That one.
Yeah.
Right? Super fun. Amazingly engaging for kids to do. You can erase it, you can trace it, you can use different things, and it's just magnets. So when we do Matman, when I present it, so Ariel, I'll cover like my progression, how I like to do it, and then you jump in at the stage that is appropriate for the kid that you're working with. Okay, so for Matman, we'll listen to the song all together.
Not sure we can hear it.
Oh, you can't hear it?
No, I don't hear it. No.
Oh my God, okay. Hold on, how? I could totally hear it so clearly.
Did you unplug your earphones?
No, but I'm going to.
Okay.
Hold on. Going to the back. Let's unplug it. Daniel's going to love this because it's the most annoying song ever because it stays in your head forever. Can you hear it now?
Yeah.
Matman has one head, one head, one head. Matman has one head so that he can. Matman has two eyes, two eyes, two eyes. Matman has two eyes.
Right? So when I talk about
so
the eyes, I do this when he makes the noise.
Matman has one nose, one nose, one nose. Matman has one nose so that he can smell.
And you breathe.
Matman has one mouth, one mouth, one mouth. Matman has one mouth so that he can eat. Matman has two ears, two ears, two ears. Matman has two ears so that he can hear. Listen. Listen. Matman has one body, one body, one body. Matman has one body Hold what is
And
inside.
here I point.
His heart,
Heart,
his tummy,
tummy,
his lungs.
and I point, and I take a deep breath here. And they copy me.
Batman has two arms, two arms, two
I do arms pointing back.
Batman has two arms so that he can reach. Batman has two hands, two hands, two hands. Batman has two hands so that he can clap.
And I'll clap until we're kids. It's super fun.
Batman has two legs, two legs, two legs. Batman has two legs so that he can stand. Batman has 2 feet, 2 feet, 2 feet. Batman has 2 feet so that he can walk.
And I'll stomp my feet. Okay, and so I'm gonna go back to just there so you can see it. So hold on one sec. Daniel, you wanna come take the baby? It's all yours. He doesn't think he's done, but he's done. Okay. Bye, buddy. Hold on, guys. Oh, okay. Should have just taken my headphones off. Here you go.
Thank you.
Okay, so if you're doing this with a child on the spectrum, someone who is low functioning, right? This is a really great activity, by the way, to do. Let me put this back in with kids of all abilities. Even some of my really young kids with ASD have loved Matman, right? My expectation is not that they draw it. That's not where I'm heading right now. Right now, I'm heading for them to do a song, engage in an activity with me. So I want them to join in my game, or I want to join into their space and then evolve it into a functional activity. Okay. And music is magical. So I'm using a song. We're working on body awareness, which is fantastic because sometimes they don't even know that these are called hands and arms and nose. So we start by building it, and eventually I want to hand them a piece and have them place it, or I will help guide them to place it. Okay. And then the next step after that would be to put it themselves. And we slowly increase the skill demand as their abilities increase, right? That's scaffolding. And then you can talk about it, be like, oh my gosh, who else has 2 eyes? Right? And they're like, me, I have 2 eyes. Like, yeah, you do. That's so crazy. Right? Who else has 2 legs? And so you can really use this as a conversation starter. It's really interesting. And then you work towards drawing. So when I've done this with an entire daycare group, I've done it with the 3+ kids, 3 and up and 4 and up. I've done this with the whole group. And so we start by doing the Matman on the floor. So they're all sitting in a circle, and I've got the kiddo that I'm there to work with. He's my helper, right? And he puts all the pieces, but all the other kids touch their body parts as we go. And then they put it all away, right? And so once we've done that a few weeks in a row, then we go, because I go once a week usually, and then we go to the table and they all get a piece of paper, right? And then I'm going to draw it with the music. So I'll hold my paper up, although if we're at a table one-on-one with a child, we can sit next to them and you can draw Matman and you just follow the exact same pattern, right? Except now we're doing it with our pencils. And because they've practiced it, now they don't have to worry about thinking about where everything goes. They know it, plus the song is going to cue them. So they can really concentrate on the grasp and the strokes, right? It's a beautiful thing. And then we practice a few times until they get it. And it's super fun. Plus you can really see the progression. When I did it with a daycare class, especially the 3+, we kept it, we dated them and kept them each week because the kids had a portfolio that went home. But we were able to actually like look at day 1 and look over, you know, a 2-month period of time, because this doesn't take very long. So it was one of the activities we did when we were all together, but you saw the progression as they really learned to draw a person. If you look it up, Good Enough does the Draw a Person assessment. There's an actual assessment which tells you what you should be drawing at which age range, right? Like what your expectation is. So that's something to look up. It's a valid test, and I often do it with kids who I have doubts if they can draw a person or if they understand about their body, right? Handwriting is on the list of things we want to work on. So I ask, oh, let's draw a person. And I want to see what they can do, because sometimes you will be surprised at how bad it is. Any questions about Matman? No? He's awesome, by the way. And you'll get to the point where you hear the song in your sleep, and like it will take over your life. It's quite something. So that's
So you're
Matman.
basically moving from having them put the shapes on the mat into progressively having them write each shape out with their hands, right? Like with a pencil. Okay.
Yeah. And you go at the pace the kid's gonna, like, you have to wait till they show you they're ready for the next step, right? You look for signs of readiness. So if you give them a piece and they put it in the correct spot, the next time maybe have them say, okay, you take the pieces and put both of them in the right spot, right? So you really look for signs of readiness, because if you go from doing it once and then going right to the paper, you might not get a success, and then they get discouraged, right? And we're really going for that highest point before failure anytime we're teaching something. So you really want to progress them.
And this would count as like one of the 5 activities you do with them in the session?
Yep.
Just running through it once? Okay.
Yeah. And if they ask to do it again and you have time, you go, okay, let's do it again.
Okay.
Right. And sometimes I'll do just handwriting. So maybe I'll do Matman and we'll make it first and then we'll go draw it in the same session. That's okay too. Right. So you're going to adapt it so that it's appropriate for the child you're working with.
Good question.
Yeah.
So, like, if you have a child that comes in for handwriting, you would do this, or is that like, I mean, I can see a parent as you do this be like, but like, we came in for handwriting. I don't get it.
We have to teach. Hold on.
Sorry?
Oh, excuse me. Allergies are fun. And so we have to explain to parents sometimes why we're doing this. And I'm totally okay with it. The way I say it is like, I explain to the child so the parents can hear me. Right? So I'll say, you know, sometimes it's really hard for us to do our letters if we don't know how to draw a person, because all of the things that we need to do to draw a person is what's going to be what we need to know to draw all of our uppercase letters. Right? And the kid's going to be like, okay. Right? And then the parent, they're going, oh, that's why. Right? And I always encourage families to ask me, and I tell them right off the bat, you know, if you're wondering what we're doing, let me know, ask me questions. I'm super happy to explain it. But often when I'm doing this and I want the parents to do something similar at home, because they can look this up, right? They can look this up on YouTube and listen to the music and practice drawing it. There's no reason they can't do this. They can do it on paper. They can do it on an easel. They can paint. They can do it with shaving cream. So I'll put shaving cream on a mat or on the table, full up. I spread it out like this so it looks like a canvas, and then they draw using just their finger. Right? So then I'm throwing tactile fun in there. So some kids really like that motivation. No problem. And you'll see Matman develop, right, as it goes. So don't ever hesitate to just say to a parents, right? Like if they're sitting there and watching and you say, I'm going to do Matman, this is why I'm going to do it. Right? This is a really great activity for teaching body awareness, but also all the strokes that we need to do all of our uppercase letters. Done. Then they're part of the conversation. They're engaged in the session.
So one of the kids I was working with today is very confronted by writing letters. Like the idea of letters confronts him a lot, which makes it quite hard to tackle that with him.
Is this my kiddo? Is this my kiddo?
No.
Okay.
But you saw him with me. So he's very confronted by the simple use of letters. Like I tried to tackle it on an alternative front, but it's letters, just the idea that it was letters. As much as he loved the shaving cream, the concept of shaving cream, it was just like, I don't want to do this. I don't like letters.
Yep. It's too hard.
Well, yeah, exactly. So I kind of wonder, would this be something that you do first to work up to it? Like how can we go from the I hate letters to I'm kind of willing to start getting into them?
Exactly. I would start with the music and the simple stuff. And, you know, obviously I wouldn't do this probably with like an 11-year-old unless their level was really that low. But kindergarten, grade 1, no problem. No problem. Bring this in. And then I'm going to show you the next set of songs. Right? So we could start with this. And then that was a very nice segue into the next, oops, sorry. Hold on. I put you guys up top so I didn't always look like I was looking down like this, but now I lost my little button on how to stop sharing. There we go. Stop share. And now I'm going to pull up the other YouTube video. I was organized today so that I would, whoop. Okay, so I'm going to unplug me again. Stop. I'm so not good at computers. Okay. Here we go. Okay, frog jump letters. So these ones are on, okay, I want to go over tap, tap, tap after. Okay, don't let me forget that tap. Maybe I should do that first because that goes with the other set. Come on. We're going to go back there. Let me see if they have a song. Tap, tap, tap.
gosh. It's a TikTok thing.
Meek Mill.
TikTok is cancer. Oh gosh.
It's so bad. Okay, let's go to YouTube. YouTube, and we're gonna go handwriting without tears. Tap, tap, tap. Something. Here we go. They have kids doing it.
We have Matt
So when this is what it looks like, get set for school. Okay, where do you start your letters? Like there's legit a song like that, and you can play this for some of the kids. It's super fun. I'm just gonna play a little snippet.
Where do you start your letters?
At the top,
Super
Where
catchy,
do you start
right?
your
And I'll go,
letters?
at the top,
If you want to start a letter, then you better remember to start it at the top. Is this the top,
down.
top?
no, it's the bottom.
they think it's hilarious.
Is this the top,
Okay, so
top?
you'll have to listen to a bunch of these songs. There's really good ones. I don't use all of them, but I use many of them. Tap, tap, tap is one of my favorites. So I'll just play it. I don't know if it has, okay? But what I want you to think about, hold on, do I have?
Are there French equivalents?
No, and I wish there was, but to be very honest, so I'm looking for a pen while I talk to you guys, okay? Most of the kids do both languages, or you can try to sing it in French, right? So it's not so hard. Oh, here we go, I got chopsticks. We're gonna use chopsticks for this. Like I would use Matman, and then I would still label it with the French words instead.
Okay.
But there are French workbooks for handwriting without tears, but they never did the songs, right? If anybody's musical and wants to do that, that's a great thing. So we're gonna pretend these are my big sticks, all right? And so I do this often face-to-face with the kiddo that I'm working with, or I'll do it with the entire daycare class once again, okay? Super fun. My buddy, whose time it is, that's what I say. I don't say, I'm here for them or they're special. I just say, oh, it's their time right now. It's very neutral. And so, oh, it's their time, so they get the big sticks, right? And I get the small ones or another set of big ones, and everybody else uses their fingers as tapping fingers, okay? And I have them imitate me.
Tap, tap, tap big lines together. Tap, tap, tap big lines together. Tap a little louder now.
So go really hard, right? Be expressive,
Tap a little softer now.
right? And they really love it, and they have to follow imitation.
Tap, tap big lines, tap them on the
Floor, so
floor.
you tap on the floor.
Tap, tap, tap big lines, tap them on the floor. Play your big lines
I'll
like
do it on my
the
knees.
drum. Play along with me. Play your big lines
Rhythms
like
being
the
worked.
drum. Play along with me. Touch, touch, touch big lines. Touch them to your toes.
Oh, you go toes first.
Touch,
put
touch,
down to your toes.
touch big lines, touch them to your nose. Touch them on your shoulders now. Don't forget your head.
Right, and I get all excited.
Touch them right down to your knees
You
and
touch your knees.
everybody sneeze.
Achoo! Kids find this hilarious. Sneezing.
Move, move,
And I'm using
move
like
big
this.
lines, move them in the air. Move, move, move big lines, move them under your chair.
Chair, right? Or
Move
behind
your
the chair.
big lines to the front, move them to the back. Move your big lines to the side, now put them in your lap. Tap, tap, tap big lines, tap them at the
How can you
top.
hold them up?
Tap, tap, tap
Even
big
this
lines,
proximal
tap
joint
till
stability.
I say stop.
Right? You do really big expressions.
Tap, 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 stop.
Right? And they think it's
Tap,
hilarious.
tap, 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 tap. Tap, 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 stop. Tap, 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 tap. Tap, 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 stop. Tap, 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 tap. Tap, 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 stop.
And then usually I say, what are they going to say now, guys? Who remembers?
Now, let's try it faster.
The whole class goes faster. Right? And they're so excited. But more rhythm.
Tap, tap, tap big lines.
Now we
Tap
got to
them
speed
at
it up
the
without
top.
getting disorganized.
Tap, tap, tap big lines. Tap till I say stop. Tap, 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 tap.
This is another one that stays in your head.
Tap, 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 tap. Tap, 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 stop. Tap, 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 tap. Tap, 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 stop. Tap, 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 tap. Tap, 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 stop.
so it technically has nothing to do with handwriting, okay? But if you're going to think about it from a really logical standpoint, you're using your whole body. You are using front, back, side. You're using body parts. You are using following directions and imitation. So it's a really great song that I do with all of my kids on the spectrum, right? That I'm working on these skills with, because again, it's music, it's engaging, and I want them to copy. So some kids can't even imitate me at first, but maybe if they sit on their mom's lap and mom is able to get them to do it, and then we can slowly fade the prompts, right? So this is a really fun game, and you have to do it many times. And so you can also say to the parents, go look it up on the internet, and you guys can do it at home. You just do it with chopsticks, right? You can use whatever you've got at home. You can use markers, you can use, use just your fingers if you want.
So
Is it challenging for? Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was just going to ask, like, so is this considered sort of like a preemptive, like, video to show kids it in case they have trouble with direction before you get into the Map Man? Like, they have to be able to do this before they do Map Man, right? Because the idea is
yes and no. I tend to do Map Man first because it introduces us to all the body parts and all the pieces, and they really like it. And then as like a reward, exciting song, I'll do this one.
Okay.
Right. And as much as they need to know all the directionality, you're really following imitation in Map Man. Right? So you're going to put the pieces and then they're going to learn to do it. So you're following the verbal direction and imitating where I put it before. This one goes a lot faster, right? So your speed, it's harder in the sense of following the auditory directions. So they have to build on that skill. Ariella,
What happens when they don't know, like, where their shoulder is in space, where, those kind of things? If they don't know and they don't realize where they are, how does this turn out? Well,
usually that's a very, you're probably going to already suspect, okay, that it's going to be hard,
okay,
right? Because you know the kids that you're working with, you're like, I don't know if they really understand anything about their bodies. So many of our kids have they're so not in touch with their emotions, with their self-regulation. So they really aren't aware of where their bodies are. Like these kids, sometimes they're always leaning. You notice that? They're always propping themselves up. They're leaning against walls. I have a kiddo who drags his hand along every store shelf when they go to Walmart, right? Really hard for mom. But that's giving him awareness of where he is in space. He has to have physical contact, right? So that's a vestibular visual thing. So he's using the sense that he has. So many of our kids are just not in touch, especially with an ASD diagnosis. DCD as well, they're not coordinated. They don't always have good ideas about where their body is or how it works together. If they're missing where their shoulder is or their head, by copying you, they're going to recognize it on someone else. So then they will start to put it on them. And that's a first step towards recognition. Plus you're labeling it, right? You can also have them do it in front of a mirror, right? We have mirrors at all the clinics. So have them look in the mirror and try to find it on themselves. So then they start to recognize it on themselves. Mirrors are really useful things, guys. Really fun. And a lot of kids enjoy it. Sometimes you have to cover it because it's too much of a distraction, but it can work really well for bringing them awareness of what they're actually doing. Because sometimes they don't realize what they look like or what they're doing. And so you put them in front of a mirror and then they start doing it. And they're like, oh, I look weird. You don't want to look weird, right? Other kids are going to notice if you look weird. And so then they start to pick up on stuff like that. It's a good question.
Is DCD in the DSM?
Yes. So DCD is, dyspraxia is not. I haven't figured that one out yet. But in French, they say dyspraxie or TAC, right? Trouble d'acquisition de coordination. All right, so that's this one. Okay, let me move you guys again so I can stop the share. And then, I had it up already. Darn. Let's do it again. So the next song that I would show you guys, we'll go back to Chrome, would be this one. All right, so now I'm switching CDs. So this is the Rock, Rap, Tap, and Learn CD. And it has more specific to teaching letters. So the other one is early learning. And then when we get to teaching letters, we head more towards this one. So I often do the frog jump letters first. The way I like to do it, so I have cards that show what each of the letters look like as if they were done with the wooden pieces, right? It's like a snapshot. I think they're going to show us in here. Kind of, okay. And I put them in order. So the way that you teach the frog jump letters is the same order that we had already seen, right, guys? Like I had shown you the order. I think I kept it up, right? So F, E, D, P, B, R, N, M. It's a very logical one. Oh, shoot. Guys, I'm going to pause for 1 sec. It's my mom, okay? Hold on 1 sec. Hey, Mom, I'm doing a training and everybody can hear right now. Can I call you back in like half an hour? Not even.
Yeah.
You're at home?
Bye.
Bye, Mama.
Call me on my cell.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Okay. So a heads up, because anyway, my grandma passed this morning, so that's why I took that call. It wasn't unexpected. She had Alzheimer's, and we were seeing a lot of degeneration the last 3 weeks, so it was not unexpected, but it's never easy. So I got to call her back, but I didn't want to do that phone call, sharing with everybody. I'm doing okay now. I had a rough morning. So, and obviously I took these out because I was like, why can't I hear anything? Actually, I'm going to leave it off because we're going back. Can you guys hear me okay though without the headphones? Yeah? Okay, so we'll start by putting the cards in that same order, F-E-D, right, that way, because that's the order that the song will follow. And I will often show the cards as we're doing the song. So I'm going to play the songs, or the song, and I get really interactive.
I'm a frog jump letter.
Right?
I start at the top. I'm a frog jump letter. Make the big line drop.
Then I go all the way to the floor.
I'm a frog jump letter.
And then I jump up,
to the top.
right? Gotcha.
Jumpity
And I
jump,
jump.
jump, jump.
So the kids are on the with me jumping.
F with a big line and 2 little lines.
So
F.
here what I'm doing, guys, is I'm showing the card, right? And I trace on it. I go F with the big line and 2 little lines, right? And I'm doing it. I can't sing, by the way. I'm tone deaf, like plus, plus, plus. So I go down and across. But then I get the kid to trace it. So I'll hold it and I want them to trace it if they are able. Okay, so I'm not necessarily doing this right away with the wooden pieces. I'm using the card, which is what you see right here. This is the card. Okay, that's what it looks like. So I trace down and then I go out with 2 little lines, and it even gives you the numbers so that you can't mess up which order you do the pieces in.
With a big line and 2 little lines. F with a big line and 2 little lines. Frog jump capital F. E. E with a big line and 3 little lines. E with a big line and 3 little lines. E with a big line and 3 little
I
lines.
also watch these videos,
Frog jump
which are pretty cool.
capital E. Jump.
And here we legit jump, and we're jumping around. Okay,
Jumpity jump.
great body break.
Jumpity D. D with a big line and 1 big curve. D with a
Watch
big
the
line
logic
and 1
of how
big
they've organized
curve.
it, right?
D with a big line and 1 big curve. Frog jump capital D. P. P with a big line and 1 little curve.
Big curve,
P
little
with
curve.
a big
Just
line
changing
and
one
1
thing.
little curve. P with a big line and 1 little curve. Frog jump capital P.
And here we have the big musical interlude, right? So we're doing frogs, but we like have a dance party. And I'll be dancing around. I'm cool with it, right? Getting a kid to dance with me because they're usually young when you're doing this too, so they're into it. Right? We play pretend instruments, make it fun. But by making it fun, they're more willing to do it. That is always the key. And then we're gonna get to the jumpity jump again.
Jumpity jump.
And I start jumping around again, and the kids start jumping, which is nice proprioception.
Jumpity D. D with a big line, 2 little curves.
Right, so you started with just the
B
P,
with a big line,
and
2
now
little
we do
curves.
B's. So
B
just add
with
one more
a
thing.
big
It's so
line, 2
magical.
little curves. Frog jump capital B. R. R with
Same
a
thing.
big line, little curve, little line. R
Little
with
curve,
a
little
big
line.
line, little curve, little line.
So you make a P and you
R
add.
with a big line, little curve, little line. Frog jump capital R. Jumpity jump. Jumpity jump. Jumpity jump. Jumpity N. N use a big line with 2 more. N use a
And I
big
draw it
line
going down,
with
and then
2
up.
more. N use a big line with 2 more. Frog jump capital N. M. M use a big line with 3 more. M use a big line with 3 more. M jumpity jump, jump, jump.
And it goes jumpity jump, right? Usually I'll stop at this point. So super catchy, right? Really fun. Kids really enjoy it. And you've covered a whole bunch of letters. It's awesome. And they have songs for each set of letters, right? So they have give it a middle. So that's for A, H, and G, I think, right? And then they have other ones. They're sliding down to the end of the alphabet. So it's all the ones with diagonals. There's like Z, Y, X, like all of those seem to have diagonals. So it's really fun. So they have music that goes with teaching each of the sets of letters. So it's really engaging for the kids. And you can also play this when you're actually putting the pieces like they showed you here, or you could do it when you're drawing the actual letters. Again, chalkboard, whiteboard, shaving cream, pudding, right? I've used pudding, anything you want, and you can pair it with music.
You start with like tracing the letters with the fingers before you use the wooden blocks to put the letters together?
Yep, sometimes, but I find actually doing the blocks better, like easier place to start, because you're using your visual motor system, but you don't have to actually trace it, right? Or you put the pieces first and then you can trace over it. Yeah. Any other questions? No? Okay, so what was the next step on my thing? I'm going to unshare. It's already 7:50. God, these hours go so fast. We cover a lot of stuff, but it's crazy how fast it goes. Oh yeah, there was another video I'll just show you quick, which was on frog jump letters also. Hold on. It was more one that I think it's a teacher. I just happened to come across it, but she's trying to teach the frog jump letters, right? Using the whole kit of stuff.
Back.
Right? And so like she
paper
shows how you can do it with
and little chalk bit.
So we have these little chalkboards. We have them at both of the clinics. They're really, really good actually, because it's again that gray block, right? Or the mat. So it's all the same skill set. They just build on it, right? So you've got the blue mat and you make the shapes on the blue mat, right? The letters, sorry. Then you can go to doing it on the chalkboard or on the Magnadoodle, which is in the same shape, the same rectangular thing with the smiley face. So it's very clear where you start. And then you bring it to paper, and they have those gray blocks, which is the same, right? The gray rectangle with, you can put a green smiley face with the starting spot, right? So you don't have to keep relearning it different ways. We're just building on a skill that we already have. And the way they do it is wet, dry, try. Okay, and I think
you're also going to need your wet sponge cube.
I want to see how she does it. Hold on, we're going to try to find. Here we go. Okay, because this is how you can do it too. Oops.
Line down.
So you draw it first.
Frog jump back up to the top. Ribbit.
I wish I had a frog hat, guys. This is
Big
awesome.
curve to the bottom. Now your helper at home should be preparing your slate to look just like mine. Remember, big line down, frog jump up to the top, big curve to the bottom. Now we're gonna wet, dry, try. The first step is wet, so I need my sponge cube.
And we have little sponges, so we just cut pieces off.
Boys and girls, pick up your sponge cube and do it with me. Put your sponge in the starting corner. Make a big line down right over the chalk line. Jump back up to the top, ribbit. Make a big curve to the bottom.
So no pencil necessary, right? But what's really cool about using a tiny piece of sponge is you're working on your pinch, right? Which is what you want to be doing when you hold your marker. You don't want to be like this, but you can't hold the sponge like this and it won't work. You have to pinch. So it's a really nice bonus for this kind of activity. You can do this on a dry erase board as well, where you draw it. It's hard to do with the wet, dry, try, but if you do it, you can always have the kid use their finger to try to erase it. I do that a lot too, okay?
Awesome. The next step is dry. So pick up your paper towel and crunch it up between your fingers.
More fun water play.
Start in the starting corner. Make a big line down. Frog jump, ribbit, big curve to the bottom. Great. Now you get to try it with the chalk.
Small pieces of chalk are key. Okay, we've broken up
Pick
chalk.
up your chalk bit.
Again with the pinch.
Start in the starting corner. Make a big line down. Frog jump. Ribbit. Make a big curve to the bottom. Does your D look like mine with a big line?
Cool, right? And so you can do a whole bunch of letters, especially for the kids who are, I'll put this back in, the kids who are learning again. They're just at this stage. Sometimes it seems slow initially, but it really picks up speed as they start to get it. Any questions? No? Okay. I'll go back to stopping my share and let's see. Yeah. Oh, I think I can't hear you properly. Hold on. Can everybody else hear her? Is it just me? No, we can't hear. Ariella, we can't hear you.
Oh, I'm not trying to say anything. Oh, did I?
It popped up. That's why I thought you were trying to say it. Awkward moment. Sorry, everybody. Okay, so those were the videos. Obviously, the music, I'm going to send it to you guys so you can play with it. You can listen. You can go into the clinic and you can pull out all the handwriting without tears pieces and try them. Play with it. Try the magnet doodle. The magnet doodle is the same concept, right? Like you draw it, they can erase it, but you can trace it. And they have the little lines, big line, little line, big curve, little curve with magnet on it. So you can stamp the letters and then you can draw drawing over it. Really well designed. Okay, so there's tons of ways you can play with this. That's what I love about it. Then you're going to head towards the lowercase letters and the workbooks. So in the clinic, we have all the workbooks. The order of the workbooks, and we have them in English and in French, and we also have them scanned, so you can print as many copies as you want, okay? But they're already designed in the correct order to work out, right? So you're going to present them in that order. It's awesome. And there's a Get Set for School one, which starts with the basics, the VMI line down, right, across, and then they're going to do the uppercase letters, and then it'll introduce the lowercase. So when you're doing lowercase letters, you're going to follow along with the workbooks. That's going to cue you. I think that's the easiest way to have you learn, as opposed to me teaching you letter by letter. I wanted to show you all the videos and music because it's not obvious, right? The workbook, you look at the page, you're like, oh, that's how we do it. What I would do is look up on your time, look up correct letter formation and just double check that you make your letters the same way. Because sometimes we don't, and we don't want to impose our bad habits on kids to the best of our abilities, right? A lot of kids have a hard time with the C, like A, those kind of letters. I'm trying to think if I can, how can I show you? I'll show you on a paper. I can't draw it, but I can just draw it on the actual paper. So magic C's are really cool, okay? So is there a way that I can, I'm supposed to be able, I believe, to spotlight me. Mute now. Reactions, polling. We can do polls, isn't that cool? Oh, maybe it's up here. Meeting information. No. No, oh, I just entered full screen, hold on. And gallery view. Spotlight video, yes, okay. So guys, that was like a huge accomplishment for me. Okay, magic C's. The reasons magic C's are so much fun is because the letters B and D are often inverted, right? They're reversed, and P and Q. But if you learn the letters, the correct formation, you will never make that mistake. Okay, so I'll just show this to you really quickly. Okay, so can you guys see? I'm sorry, I don't have good paper. I grabbed what I had next to me. Okay, so the letter, how am I going to do this? I'm going to have to write upside down and you guys just have to bear with me. The letter B is a line down, right? Now, is it upside down for you guys?
No, it looks good to us.
Inverted.
It looks good.
No.
It's inverted?
B.
B.
Oh, okay, so we're good.
Okay, so I start up here, right? And like this is your lines like this, right? And you can just make lines like that. So there's my B. My D is a magic C letter. And it's magic because you start with a C, but then you go all the way up and down, and it's a D.
you can't make the mistake because they start in different places. What we see a lot is the kid makes the line down and they're like, oh shit, I'm going to go this way. Or, oh shit, I'm going to go that way. Right? And they make mistakes. So if you teach them very much to do big line down with the bump or the belly, and then you do a magic C like that. And so the same is for the letters, and you can make your little line across, right? If you want to do it like that, or you can do it like this, where you do the A and you go up above the line, or you do your magic C and you drop down below the line. Okay? But these are all magic C letters, because if you're going to do a P is a big line, and then that, the bump. So again, if you learn it in the correct letter formation, you're not going to make that mistake of having the reversals, right? The magic C letters are awesome. So you've got the C, right? So first you teach them to make a C, but then you teach them to make the letter A. And I will do this on the whiteboard and we'll practice it over and over. Then I'll have kids close their eyes and try to do it, which they think is really fun. But if you can learn it kinesthetically, you don't need to see it, right? You and I can make the letters without seeing anything. We can close our eyes, we can draw it in the air. That's when you really know a letter. Then you can do, right? So it's almost the same as an A, but you go all the way up for the D. Magic C, you go up and down. Oh, I made a G. Right? Magic C, oh my gosh, I want a Q. And magic C, I can make an O too, right? This is like, they don't always include the O in the magic C letters, but Kamaim, you can make all the letters and just by knowing the letter C. So we teach it in logical groups. It's awesome. And the kids will know the magic C because so many of our kids will do this, right? And then you see this and then the line's like over here. It's really, really so much easier if we teach them the tricks with each of the letters. But this is in each of the workbooks. So what you'll do when you're going to teach is you'll go and you'll pull up the workbook and look how they teach the letters. It's the most logical way. You won't need me to teach it. I just wanted to show you guys this concept. Does that make sense with the magic C's?
Yeah.
And
I have a quick question when the session ends, if you have a minute.
Yeah.
Maybe a minute?
Yeah, literally a minute. I'll have to talk to my mom.
Yeah, like literally a minute.
And Ariella, you and I were going to chat too, but I'll text you after to kind of plan a time because I haven't talked to my mom all day, so I'm going to want to talk to her.
Don't worry, yeah.
Okay, it's been a really shit day over on. The other thing I was going to show you guys, okay, because we're really focusing on handwriting today, is, let me pull it up and I'm going to share my Adobe. So you don't just have to practice letters, right? There's a lot of skills that we can practice to get up there. So I pulled up a whole bunch of the different skills. That's not the one I want to show. This is a fun one, right? So this is, again, tools to grow, right? Making a path, school mazes, and they always have the instructions, but you need to go in order. So make a path and connect the numbers in order from 1 to 5 without crossing over any picture or another line. So you literally have to watch the kiddo go this way. Oh, and now they have to figure out, they have to go all the way down here. So it's like doing a maze, but different, right? But at the same time, you have to use your visual motor integration. You have to use your visual perception. You have to know your numbers in order, right? So there's a lot of layers to this kind of stuff. And you have to have the pencil control to be able to do it. This is a more beginner phase, and then we'll work our way up to having borders, and then the borders get narrower and narrower and narrower, right? And that's fine motor precision. I don't know if you guys can hear the baby's like screeching. It's hilarious. No, I don't want to show you the grids yet. Hold on. I was trying to see. Oh yeah, so you can look up mazes, right? 1/2 inch wide. So it's all the different grading, but you can also have it do different movements, right? Which can be really fun. And they have tons of themes. Okay. So there's so much that you guys can look up. And this was the visual motor one. So we've already done that. And craft sticks. Right, so you get these at the Dollarama. We have tons of them at the clinics. We can do the pre-writing shapes. Same way we were doing the handwriting without tears. Right? So you've got all sorts of resources available to you. If we're going to do grids, so copying is a skill that we need to practice, right? Using grids, connecting dots, localization. This is actually a pre-math skill as well as a pre-handwriting skill. And they get more and more complex as we go, right? and being able to identify where you start and how to do it. And it's really interesting to watch too how they do these, because some kids will start here, which is not logical because we write from the left side to the right side, right? But they'll start here like that. Again, if they've learned Hebrew, right, we have some allowances for that because they start on the other side. So it's a natural mistake for them to make. And in my assessment, it's something I'll note. But you can see sometimes they'll do it, they'll go here, and they'll stop and they'll think, and then they'll go here. And then you get to the more complicated ones like this, right? Where maybe they'll draw the bottom part first and then they'll add the top. So it'll be, I'm almost done. What? Oh, I use cloth diapers, all right? And my husband hates them. And he's all mad that I left him in a cloth diaper because he's got to go change the diaper. And so, but it's so much better. Anyway, it's all good. It's so easy. Anyway, he's just lazy.
If he does a mistake when he's putting the dot, do you tell him, or do you
initially I would.
What he's doing first?
I want to see what he's doing, but then what we would do is say, oh, maybe we should have done it in this order, or I would teach. So it would depend if I was doing it for a first time and like evaluating what they're doing, or if I'm doing it as a teaching strategy.
Yeah.
Right? Because maybe I've seen that they didn't do it properly. So next time I'm going to print out the same one or a new theme of it, and then we'll work on that skill. So I'll show. Another way you can do skills like this is with a geoboard. Do you guys know what a geoboard is? Mm-hmm. Right? It's like a piece of wood with all sorts of nails sticking out, little squares, and you can use elastics. So all of those elastics for that rainbow loom thing that kids were really into a few years ago, you put those and you can have them copy. So you do it on yours and they do it on theirs, right? But again, it's a pre-writing and pre-math skill, right? Because it uses all of the base skills that we need to have without us sitting there practicing letters for the entire hour, because the kid will kill you. Okay, you don't want to do that. They will, because they don't like this, right? They've been doing this for a long time at school and it's hard. So we need to make it fun and build it step by step by step, so they're constantly feeling success. Because when they're in class and they're seeing every other kid do a really good job with less effort, right? Especially less perceived effort, because they know how hard it is for themselves. They are going to say it's boring, I don't like it. They're not going to want to try anymore because they've had failure after failure, right? So we want to build up little successes. That's when we're going to get participation. So, the kid that you were talking about, Laura, that kid can't do it. And he has lived the experience of not being able to do it when others have. So there's no motivation. He absolutely doesn't want to do it. And that's what we're looking at, right? At that point, we need to be like, okay, how do I present it a completely different way and actually teach it so it's fun and doable, step by step by step. Using a ruler is another really cool skill, also really good for bilateral coordination. So you'd print things like this, and you have to, so see the line on the bottom here, right? So he's got to bring this ruler, or bring a ruler and then connect the line. All right. But it's a really cool activity. So now they're going from one line to the bottom, and there's tons of ones like that. And then you can look at scissor skills. So when you're starting with a really low scissor skills, it's just snipping, right? That's how we start. So they would just snip the paper. I would actually start with straws. So I'm super environmental. I use metal straws and silicone straws at home. The only times I will use plastic straws is in clinic, and actually paper straws work really well. So that's what we've replaced it with. Because when you snip a straw, the pieces pop off. He's in his Batman pajamas. So all the little pieces fly off, right? So it makes a huge mess, but the kids think it's hilarious. And so you can practice just snipping. Then you get to paper. I would often grade it by going straws, then construction paper, or what's the scrapbooking paper, like the thicker paper? What am I thinking of? Anybody?
Cardboard paper?
Yeah, but it's like, I'm gonna miss this word. Anyway, it's like the level above construction paper. Construction paper is thicker than white paper, but cardstock. It's called cardstock. So it's like the paper, it feels like it's a birthday card. Okay. Right? Like it's thick, almost cardboard, but cardboard is almost too hard to cut through. Cardstock, it stays firm. So if the kid holds it at one end and is cutting here, you're going to still have success, right? Whereas if it's a white paper and you're holding it here, it flops around and you can't do it. And then you would progress to snipping white paper and following lines, right? The other one is just wherever, just practicing the snip. And then the snips get longer. And you could even progress longer than that to get them to do 2 snips in a row, right? Break down the task. That's how you're going to figure out how to teach it so that they can build step by step by step. And then you would work towards cutting a paper in half. Then you would work towards following a line, cutting a paper in half, cutting it the other way. So it's a longer line. And then you can work towards cutting shapes. And this is a really cool one. Like they have circles, squares, tons of shapes. And then they progress to dot by dot, like smaller lines, right? There's tons of levels that you can build on. So I will send you guys that by email so you can check out that website. It's got tons of handouts for you. Plus we have a lot of stuff in the clinics as well. So based on all the stuff we covered today, any questions about handwriting stuff? No? Oh, the cursive. I will send you guys what I have. So hold on, let me stop the share. I'll just show you quick before I go. I thought I pulled it up, but I did not. So I will send this to you guys as well. So the handwriting, I like loops and other groups. And so it looks like this. Let's share Adobe. Done. I have to be able to turn this. There's a way. View. There we go. Loops and other groups, right? Kinesthetic writing system. So it tells you what order they're in, but look, clock climbers. This is genius, guys. So I literally use chalk or the whiteboard. I make the 2 lines in one color and I draw a clock in one color. And then I will take a different color and I start here and I say, okay, we're going to draw all the way up. We go to 1 o'clock, stop. Come back around to 5 o'clock, stop. We're going to go up to 1 o'clock and then back out with our joiner line, right? These are your joiner lines. And I have them erase it. And then I make the clock again. And then I have them draw it. And I slowly fade the prompts. I'll fade the hands. I point the hands of the clock, by the way, to the 1 and the 5 as a clue initially, right? And then I get rid of those and I just have the numbers. And then I get rid of the numbers and I see, can they still do it? And then I get rid of the circle. Can they still do it? And so we fade it and then they're able to get it. And then very logically, you have A, then you have D. Same thing, longer line, right? Just like Magic C's. Same letter set, right? Super cool. And then you practice joining letters together, right? Then you have kite strings. So they all start the same. You have a kite string up with another line. So you build on each skill that you have. It's so beautifully logical. At school, they don't teach it like this way. They jump around. It blows my mind. Okay, so you can look through this and you can see it. It basically tells you how to teach it, right? Then you've got your loop group. And it's all the loops. F is my favorite letter, by the way, in cursive. I just love making the letter F. I find it so satisfying. And then you've got hills and valleys, right? And then it practices how to, hold on. These are all like little templates that you can use, right? But then you have bridge connectors, right? So it teaches you how to connect the words. And then it gives you a paper to work on. And then the capitals, but I never use these as capitals, guys. They just use the regular letters now. Okay, so I'll send this to you as well. Perfect. Any questions? Yeah, we covered a lot of stuff. So it was a really good handwriting overview. And then as stuff comes up that's particular to your clients, you guys will ask. Sounds good? All right, so I will see you guys next week. Send me emails if there's stuff that's coming up with clients that you have or that you're reading reports on and you're like, I would like to cover this, because then I'll build that into the trainings that I'm planning. Ariella, I'm going to text you. We'll plan a time to talk. And then Laura, you said you had a really quick question, right?
It's okay. We can do it another time.
Well,
Actually,
if it's,
yeah.
is it, yeah?
It was just, I was wondering if there's like handouts that we can give to parents in terms of working some postural control.
Yes. Okay. So I will, postural control, and I got to write down or I'll forget. I will find what I have and send it. And I'll send it to everybody so that you guys all
have like a lot of time. There's like a week till the next session, so it's really not urgent, but I was just like wondering.
Yep, we do. I'm trying to think if I have like one that's a really good handout. I have, anyway, I'll look through what I've got and I'll send out some stuff to you guys.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Take care, okay? Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Yes.